Welcome to my bookshelf. Here at our channel, we combine our love for books with AI to share key insights from some of the most impactful, best-selling authors out there. So, enjoy today's review. We're breaking down a book with a really powerful premise for anyone who communicates, which, let's be honest, is all of us. It's called The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher. Okay, let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever been in an argument and you won? You had all the facts, you made your point, but you walked away with that sinking feeling in your stomach. That feeling that you might have won the battle, but you just damaged something way more important? Well, that hollow victory is exactly what this book is all about.
So, the whole idea behind The Next Conversation is this total flip of the script. Fisher's point is that in the relationships that really matter, trying to win an argument is actually a losing game. The goal shouldn't be to prove that you're right. It's to understand where the other person is coming from. Because when you're just focused on winning, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose trust, respect, and that feeling of connection.
And this quote from Fisher really gets to the heart of it. He says that underneath the surface of pretty much any conflict, there's always something else going on, a hidden struggle. You know, that agitated coworker or that spouse who's being really short-tempered. The reaction is often being driven by something completely invisible to you.
And here's a story from the book that just hits this point home. Fisher talks about deposing this witness, a guy named Bobby Lepre, who was a huge, intimidating man and was just incredibly hostile. But instead of fighting fire with fire, Fisher just asked him a simple question. What's been your biggest struggle this year? And just like that, the aggression melted away. It turned out he was a terrified son who was completely overwhelmed by his mom's failing health. By looking for the struggle, not the win, the whole conversation changed.
So, who is this guy giving all this advice? Well, this isn't some academic writing from an ivory tower. Jefferson Fisher is a trial lawyer. His laboratory for understanding people wasn't a university. It was the high-stakes environment of the courtroom. Let's take a quick look at how his pretty unique path shaped all these insights.
You can tell Fisher's expertise is the real deal. You know, it's grounded. He says he learned the basics by mediating fights between his 3 younger siblings. Then, as a trial lawyer, he realized law school taught him the law, but not how to actually read people. So he learned that in the trenches. And then in 2022, he started sharing all this hard-won wisdom from the driver's seat of his truck, and the videos just exploded because the advice was so real and so practical.
All right, this next part is a real game changer from the book. Fisher argues that we live in a world of transmission, not connection. Think about it. We're constantly sending data back and forth, texts, emails, you name it, but we're often failing to actually connect on a human level.
So here's the difference. Transmission is just sending information. It's fast, it's efficient, but it's cold. It's that text message you sent that got completely misinterpreted, right? Connection, on the other hand, is about building understanding and acknowledging the other person. It's that quick phone call that clears everything up because it has tone and nuance and actual meaning, and we mistake one for the other all the time.
So what happens when a conversation really goes off the rails? Fisher has a name for it, the ignition phase. This is that exact moment where a simple disagreement just catches fire. And it's not just a figure of speech, it's a real physiological event where your body's threat response system completely takes over.
During that ignition phase, your brain basically goes into red alert. Adrenaline starts pumping, and the rational, thinking part of your brain just goes offline. That's when we start making personal attacks. The cooling phase, well, that's the opposite. It's when your body calms down and you shift into rest and digest mode. Suddenly clarity returns, and you find yourself saying things like, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
So how do you stop that fire before it even starts? Fisher gives you these 2 incredibly simple, practical tools. First, he says, make your first word a breath. Before you say anything, take what he calls a conversational breath. In for 3 seconds, out for 6. It literally short-circuits that fight or flight response. Second, do a quick scan. Just mentally check in with your body. Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? Then label the emotion you're feeling. Just naming it, okay, I am feeling defensive, gives you back a huge amount of control.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's our final take on The Next Conversation? Let's break down what we really liked and one little thing you should probably keep in mind.
We loved a few things about this book. First, the advice is genuinely actionable. These are tools you can start using in your very next conversation. Second, that homegrown expertise, it just feels so authentic and battle-tested. Third, the storytelling is fantastic. Anecdotes like the one about Bobby Lepre really stick with you. And finally, it's just so easy to read. It's written in plain English with none of that academic jargon.
Now for one small caution. The book's greatest strength is also, in a way, its limitation. That just a guy in his truck vibe means this isn't a deep dive into clinical psychology. And Fisher is super upfront about this. He literally says, I am not a therapist. So if you're looking for dense academic studies, this probably isn't the book for you.
All right, so the big question, who should actually pick up this book? Is it for you? Let's get specific.
This book is a must-read if you're any kind of leader who has to have those tough conversations. It's for professionals trying to navigate tricky team dynamics, or entrepreneurs negotiating deals. And honestly, it's for anyone in a relationship who's just tired of arguing and wants to connect more. If you want practical tools you can use right away instead of abstract theories, then this one's for you.
And that really brings us to the book's core promise, and the question we want to leave you with. What if your very next conversation, the one you've been dreading, could be the one that changes everything for the better? Okay, so if this sounds like your kind of read, check the links below. It helps the channel and no extra cost to you.